A very good evening to you all yet again for round 7 of the Formula Racing World Series. I'm Dom and I'm joined today by Curly. Curly, how are you doing and what are you expecting from this race after obviously last week's 1-2 finish for the Ferraris at Monaco before one of the Ferraris got disqualified?
Yeah, I'm doing well, and really looking forward to this race tonight. It's a difficult circuit. The walls are very close, lots of tricky curbs and generally tough braking zones here. I'm personally hoping for a little bit of rain. We had some last night in the championship and helped to spice the race up a little bit. So yeah, hopefully for some more wet weather tonight.
Yeah, I'll take you through the drivers that we have tonight. We have a nearly full grid. We're only missing a Toro Rosso and the both of the McLarens. There have been some driver changes as well, but I'll let Curly do that part of it. In the Mercedes, we have Hindle and Slimbo Dude, who both showed the great pace at Monaco before Slimbo Dude got disqualified for having no footage, and Hindle for ETLing a little bit too much. So the Mercedes boys looking to bounce back here at Canada and actually make sure they they get a result that counts. And then on to the Ferraris. Do you want to do it like one guy, one team each then?
Yeah, sure.
The Ferraris.
We are just getting quite a lot of I don't know, like background noise or feedback off of your mic or something like that, so it might just be worth actually changing your mic. Yeah, so in the Ferrari tonight, of course, usual combination of Conzo and Calzo. Conzo, our reigning champion and current championship leader, he extended his points lead in Monaco by a long way, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. Calzo unfortunately disqualified from that race due to late footage. He'll be looking to bounce back tonight. He's got a long way to catch up to Conzo in the championship, but I think if there is any driver on the grid that can close that gap, it might well be Calzo.
And then on to the Red Bull team with Stocky and Will1Win1. Stocky had a good showing in Monaco until he, I think, unfortunately retired. So Stocky, I think, on his wheel today, will be looking to bounce back at Canada. Canada is a good track for his wheel with all these sweeping chicanes. So Stocky will be hoping for a good result today. And Will1Win1, after bagging second after all the penalties at Monaco, will be looking to continue onto that good result and maybe try and bag another podium here.
Yeah, then on to the Williams team. We've got Danny Railton and Gonk, and Gonk was the main man for Williams in Monaco, finishing 5th place after penalties. Excellent result for him. I'm sure that he'll be looking for more of that tonight. Danny Railton's had a little bit of a tough season. He struggled with some lag problems, I believe, in Monaco, so hopefully we don't have any issues with that this evening.
And on to the Force India, the great pairing of Ant69 and Milstar. Milstar actually did not race in Monaco, so that was unfortunate. I think Milstar would have been a guy that could have got a good result in Monaco, but we're glad he's back for Canada. Milstar has been showing some great pace in the previous races before Monaco, so let's see if Milstar can actually mix himself up with the top guys in this tier. And then obviously Ant69 got a good result in Monaco. Actually, did finish 7th after starting on 15th on the grid. So Ant69 will be hoping to obviously gain as much places as he can again for this race.
Yeah, then on to the Renaults. We've got Alan Muntean and RDB. Alan Muntean really been a real bit of a revelation in the last couple of rounds. Very strong points finishes in both races. Grabbed 4th place in Monaco. Excellent result for him. We also have RDB in as a reserve for Fletcher Boy. Fletcher Boy has been given a full-time seat in the Renault. However, unfortunately, he's unable to make it tonight. So yeah, we've got RDB in there, and he'll be able to do a good job for the Renault squad here in Canada, I think.
And then on to the Toro Rossos, where normally it is Malik Kekec alongside Valdemar, but Malik Kekec not showing tonight for some reason. Maybe still a little bit frustrated about the last race in Monaco, where he got taken out. I think he crashed himself first and then got taken out by the lag of Danny Railton, and then retired his car, unfortunately. So Malik Kekec unfortunately not with us. So well, that's one challenger less for the Ferrari team, which is a little bit unfortunate for us and for you viewers. But who knows? Valdemar might be able to change that, because Valdemar did show some very, very great pace in Monaco until he, I think, damaged his wing multiple times and only managed to finish 10th. So that was unfortunate for Valdemar. Could have definitely been a better result for him, but I'm sure he'll bounce back today in Canada.
Yeah, and then the final two drivers we have on the grid are the Haas team. We've got Coming to Get You and Farthba Coming to Get You with the podium there in Monaco. Has been putting in some strong showings in the couple races that he's done for Haas this season. Farthba in Monaco really sort of personifying slow and steady. He finished, I think it was 2 laps down in the end, but you know what? That was enough for P6 and 8 points for Haas. I'm sure that he was very, very happy with that result coming out of Monaco. Now that we are running slightly behind schedule, so we'll both hit spectator, and that let the drivers know that we're ready to get underway for round number 7 of the World Series. And yeah, Dom, I mean, your thoughts on Canada as a circuit? Do you think that this is a difficult track, maybe, or perhaps one of the easier ones? What are your thoughts?
As with every track, I mean, it's got its easier parts and its harder parts. I think the chicanes, and there's quite a lot of them on this circuit. If you get them right, you can gain a lot of time, and if you get them wrong, that will actually cost you a lot of time. So yeah, it'll be a question of doing it steady, maybe doing it slow and steady, and try and get the best possible result for the guys. It's not an easy track, especially on the controller, with the fast sweeping corners going left and right. Yeah, it'll be a challenge for the drivers, but there will be a lot of overtaking opportunities on this track, especially with the Casino Straight. So I'm hoping we'll see some good racing on this track.
Yeah, real points of strength for drivers to do well here. Lots of heavy braking zones and well, kind of heavy traction zones as well. So those drivers who are stronger in those areas will prosper at this circuit. I think as well, you know, the World Series, this is the assist allowed league, and you know, that opens up some options in terms of what assists drivers are going to use. And I think in particular at this track, the drivers using less traction control, so either no traction control, we've got a couple of those guys, namely Stocky or Come to Get You, or those who are using medium, which I think both Ferrari drivers, maybe Hindle as well, a couple other guys on the grid, will probably have a fairly big advantage over those guys using full traction, just in terms of the you know, the pure raw traction out of those slow corners, in particular that hairpin that we just saw there. So yeah, it's interesting in terms of setup here in the World Series, because it's not just about the setup of the car, it's also about what assists you want to use. Ooh. As we have some rain here in qualifying. It looks fairly light, likely be intermediate conditions, but yeah, there's a real curveball for the drivers.
Yeah, that is indeed. I mean, rain. That again opens up a couple of options for assist users, and some assist users might actually change their settings to maybe full, or maybe put ABS on if they have it off, because obviously rain does change the behaviour of the car a lot on this game, especially on this game. I think more than on the last couple of games, which is a good feature. I mean. This game is known to be more realistic than the last couple of games, so I think it is a good change. But that does indeed, for the assist users, open up a lot of options, as we see multiple cars heading out now. So maybe they know something that we don't know. Maybe it's getting wetter out there as we ride on board with Coming to Get You on his outlap. The rain, if I look onto his car on the onboard view, it does not look too bad, and he's out of the ultra softs actually on my screen. So that is a very strange decision here from Coming to Get You. So that's why most drivers will be going out probably straight away, because it might have just started raining, and that's why I see most guys on the ultra softs.
Yeah, most of the drivers out here on the slick tyres, and this will be one of those qualifying sessions where you've really got one shot at the start of the session to get a lap in. And after that, they probably won't have much of an opportunity if this rain continues to fall. So these opening laps are absolutely crucial for the drivers. You've got to nail it on the first attempt, otherwise you're going to be in some serious trouble. It's looking pretty damp and slippery out there. In particular, guys who are running fewer assists will likely find this a bit tricky. But yeah, it is looking quite slippery. We saw this last night though in the race, and I was caught out by this, where the slick tyre conditions seem to last a little longer at this track.
Coming to Get You put it in the wall, starting his lap.
The Wall of Champions.
So that is not a good start from the full lap from Coming to Get You. I don't know if he's actually damaged his wing, but we'll still follow him as he goes round turn 1 there fairly cleanly. But there is a Toro Rosso behind him. That'll be the Toro Rosso of Valdemar. Obviously, Coming to Get You is a guy that I think runs no assists. He might have turned them on now. I'm not sure. Obviously, we can't see that. Do you think he might have turned them on for this one? See in the rain?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I would fully expect guys to just carry on with really what they know best. And you know, I mean, it might be easier to drive in the rain with the assists on, but I'm not entirely convinced that it's faster. I mean, we saw in China wet conditions in qualifying, and it was actually Stocky that took pole position there. And as we know, Stocky is a no assist driver. So yeah, I think there might actually be some time to gain from running the assist. And it does give you a kind of finer control over the car. It's easier to be just a little bit more accurate when you're not running those assists, because they can kind of get in the way of what you're doing there. But yeah, we do actually have a car lagging around behind Coming to Get You, and that is Valdemar, who's almost overtaking him on this lap. So Valdemar was probably on an absolute flyer.
Yeah, Valdemar on a good lap there, and then nearly hitting the back of Coming to Get You. I don't know which one of the two cars is lagging. As Valdemar posts the quickest lap and then goes past Coming to Get You, and then messes up his braking point and goes on. So Valdemar, well, we'll probably go into the pits and be happy with that lap, because I do think the track is getting wetter and wetter as we speak, as we see Hindle putting in the quickest time here on the 19.1. Talking about Hindle, he had a good showing in Monaco. I mean, for a Pat driver to run, well, fairly decent times and then getting disqualified over ETL, what do you think his goal will be for this event?
Well, I think Hindle's got one goal for Canada, and I think that's the win. I can't say I have done a little bit of practice with Hindle. He looks very, very quick around here, and you know, for Hindle, it's been, you know, okay, he was very much a championship contender all the way up until the final race last season, but it's actually been a while since he's won a race. Sort of halfway through last season was the last time that he won one, so it's been a little while for him, and he'll be very, very hungry for that here tonight, as we have seen Calzo take the provisional pole. He's got 9/10 faster. Conzo, where's he going to go? He's only 7th. Conzo's struggling
Conzo,
here in these
not a good lap
conditions.
there. Not a good lap for Conzo, as we've seen multiple cars still in the pits. That is Stocky, was one of them. Stocky would have been one of the guys I expected to go out straight away. Usually Stocky's very very quick on these decisions, but he's decided to stay in the pits for whatever reason. Maybe just to start on fresh tyres, because obviously we can't see what the race weather is doing. Normally we have James with us for the weather, and James is kind of our pit lane reporter. But James is unfortunately not with us tonight. He's at football. Which is understandable. We can do it with the two of us, but that does give us limited information about the both of the sessions. As we see Calzo going round for another lap. I don't know if this is actually a qualifying lap. It's very hard to see in the rain whether a guy is pushing or whether he's not. But Calzo looks to be going pretty quickly here.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's going to improve.
I think this is a second flying lap for him. We did just see Hindle improve, but he wasn't quite able to topple Calzo's time. Calzo just touching the wall of champions there. Big twitch of oversteer on the exits, but he does improve. It's only by 1/10 and a half though. So we got out here on laps. I think we've got Valdemar coming along the casino straight now. He looks to be on a lap still, and to be honest, I'm not really sure that it is getting wetter, as Conzo takes the provisional pole. Yeah, that's a very, very quick lap. Valdemar really throwing it through that final chicane, right on the limits, on the white line. So that's exactly what you want to be doing. Valdemar, phenomenal time, 17.4. I think the track might actually be getting quicker.
Yeah, I think the track is getting quicker. Looks drier to me now. So yeah, obviously it's very hard for us to see what the weather conditions are doing, but it does look, if you look into the air, it does look like the sky is getting a little bit bluer each time we look. As we see Valdemar going round here with the pole position provisionally with a 17.4, but I'm guessing we'll see these times dropping. That also explains why guys like Stocky, Gonk, Farthber are all staying in with this weather obviously clearing. So we'll probably see a lot of, times a lot quicker towards the end of the season, as we see Valdemar cutting the corner, and that's lap pretty much over. We'll get on board with someone else. We see Coming to Get You on an out lap, but we've already been on board with them. We'll get on board with Gonk here, who's also on an out lap. Sorry. Gonk had I don't know, right showing in Monaco, didn't he? Where did Gonk finish? I can't actually remember where he finished. I think it was it 5th? Or was it a little bit further down?
Yeah, Gong finished in P5. I think he was he was just a little bit over a lap down, picked himself up 10 points for the Williams team, and that was a really excellent result. Really excellent result for him. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that he would be ecstatic if he could pick up another points haul like that tonight. But we're going to see in this qualifying session, I think this is going to be one of those ones where you want to be the last man across the finish line. The times will tumble down, the track will get drier and drier, and you've really got to set yourself up and time it so that you are one of those last couple of drivers across the line, so that you can get the best conditions for your qualifying lap, as we are on board with Gonk now coming through the first couple of corners. That's nice and tidy through there, beautiful line through turn 2, and he's got very solid traction up the hill. That's a difficult traction zone. Now into the first chicane, beautiful apex on the first right on that white line. That's where you want to be. Coming down towards the second chicane. This is a difficult traction zone. A little bit of a lock up there from Gong. He's negotiated that pretty well, actually revving the car out, not short shifting through there. So good confidence from Gong here in the Williams. Now you want to be braking just as that bridge starts. Again, you can see him on that first apex right on that white line. That's where you want to be. You could have maybe carried a little bit more speed through the corner. But I think we'll see his confidence grow as he goes through these laps towards the end of the session here. Keeping it in second for that hairpin, and just getting a good launch off of the hairpin. You really want to set yourself up to get the best traction possible and carry that speed all the way down this straight. Now find braking point roughly 90 meters for this final chicane. Really throw it in. I think Gong's a little cautious there. We've seen he's been hitting the apexes of the first part of the chicane as well, but he's been a bit tentative. The second half, look at that, he's 4 seconds faster than Valdemar. This track is really drying up.
Yeah, track's drying up quickly, and there's only 2 minutes 44 left at this point, so I think we'll see more drivers out as soon as that 2 minute mark hits, and drivers will be putting on that one quick lap to determine who is going to get the pole position here. So Gonk is currently the man to beat with a 13-0 with Valdemar and Konzo on a 17-4 and a 17-7 on the provisional podium grid slots. And then we've got Calzo in 4th position, so Calzo still keeping his chance of winning alive there, with Hindle following closely. We'll get on board with that.
He's currently sat in 10th place, and he will be looking to move up a long way from that. I'm actually getting a fair amount of lag off of his screen, but yeah, I mean, I think all of these positions are going to change before the end of this session. Everybody just sort of coming out now. Stocky is still in the pits. He's just coming out of the pits now, so yeah, Stocky is going to come out and set a lap. But we've got Ant coming down the back straight, and you know, I think this sort of qualifying session with the extra pressure, this is a good opportunity for someone like Ant to qualify a little higher than what he normally would. Fairly cautious through that final chicane, but he is coming up towards the line. Where will he place himself? It is P1 for Ant, provisional pole position. He's got a little bit of fuel left to continue on his laps. Who should we hop? So then we've got Valdemar on a lap now coming through towards the 3rd sector, right up against the wall on the outside there, very, very close to the limit, looking for that 100-meter board coming down into this hairpin, get it all slowed down. Now really focus on getting the best traction possible. That's a good line out of there, very aggressive on the throttle, Valdemar, as he's coming along this back straight now. And yeah, once again, you really want to be one of the last people across the line, just as this track gets quicker and quicker. These times will continue to fall. Valdemar throwing it into that final chicane, getting a little bit out of shape on the exit, but he's maintained good speed through it. Takes the short run to the line, goes provisional pole. That's a 10.9.
It's a good time.
That's a good time there.
It's a good time, it's a great time, especially if you consider that Ryan actually posted the quickest time, Ryan Hindle here in the Mercedes team. I think we actually get on board with Konzo and Calzo, as Konzo is approaching the last corner. Konzo's currently ticking off the 1 minute 1 mark, so this is looking like a very good lap from Konzo here. Where can he put himself on the grid? The current championship leader, where is he going to put himself? It's looking like a good time. It's only a 10.7, but Konzo will be able to put in another lap time as Konzo puts himself in 2nd position, as Calzo is actually about to cross the line. What is his time going to be? It's a 10.9, so Calzo P3.
Well, he will get another lap in. Who else have we got on laps coming to get used in the first sector? We've got
Stocky's retired.
Win one coming around the hairpin right now. Oh yes, Stocky. Ooh, I think that he spun it on the way to the line to start his lap. That's a strange incident there for Stocky, but we will back on board with those guys. We've got Will One Win One coming to the final chicane now. He's currently sat in P7. Very good result for him in Monaco, where will he be able to put his car to keeping that short line to the finish point, and that is 6th place for Will One. What else have we got on laps? RDB has gone into the pits. Danny Railton crossing the line goes P8. Alan Muntean now about to cross the line. He's currently sat in last position, and he jumps all the way up to 8th. That's good qualifying for him.
I'm on board with Konzo.
3 of the front runners.
I'm on board with Konzo coming through the last corner here as he crosses the line. And it's a 10-6, so he remains third. And there's only Calzo really left to challenge the front guys. If coming to get you can actually pull something off here as Calzo goes through the last.
Coming to get you run out of fuel on the way to the line. He's not quite made it there. Calzo goes P2, 13 thousandths away from Hindle.
of a second. So very unlucky here for Calzo not getting pole there, but a great lap by Hindle, putting in a 10.5 on a well, I don't want to say semi-dry track as two computer cars crashed there with each other. So a great result for Hindle here, actually grabbing his first pole position, I believe, from this season.
Yeah, Hindle will be very happy with that. He was very quick in qualifying and in practice, and I mean, look how close this top 4 is. I mean, you've got all 4 drivers really within a 10th of a second, pretty much. Valdemar as well, his teammate Malik Kekec not here this week, and Valdemar is putting on a good performance. He needs a strong showing tonight for this Toro Rosso squad. He's only 600ths away from pole, and yeah, very close qualifying, coming to get you in 5th. Running out of fuel just before the line. I'm not sure if he was up on his time, but that's going to be, well, that's going to be disappointing for him, I think. And yeah, I do think that coming to get you was perhaps slightly up on his time before he ran out of fuel there. So yeah, that's a bit frustrating for him.
Yeah, then again, the front four showing why they are the front 4 with Hindle, Calzo, Konzo. They're all pretty quick guys. I mean, Hindle and Konzo, well, they are champions in this particular league, and Calzo, well, is a guy that could potentially, with his pace, grab a championship. Could potentially grab it this year if he could actually upload his footage in time. So Calzo, I hope I hope he's recording his footage, and I hope he'll upload it in time. But there we go, Hindle, great result there for Hindle, putting it in on pole with Calzo, Valdemar, and Konzo rounding out the first 2 rows. Coming to get you, keeping the Hasses alive in 5th, and then Will One Win One. Not a bad lap by Will One Win at all for P6 in 11.3. I think that's a pretty good lap by Will One Win One.
Yeah, decent qualifying for him. Then we've got Slimbo Dude in 7th place. That's, I don't know, maybe a little disappointing. He was very fast in Monaco, took pole there. Al Muntean in 8th, Danny Railton in 9th. We've got Ant69 making out the final driver in the top 10. First driver to have a free choice of tyres is Gonk in 11th place. And then we've got RDB, Millstar, and then Stocky and Farthba at the back. Stocky in 14th. Yeah, that's going to be tricky for him. He's got to come back through the field. Does look like a dry start for us here in Canada, but we do not know what the forecast is for the rest of this race, so we're really in the dark in terms of what drivers are thinking on strategy. But yeah, this is a difficult turn 1. It's very easy to lose a wing. I'll let you take the start off.
Well, we've got the start here, 5 lights are on, and Hindle is on pole for this one as the lights go out, and a great start there by Hindle as he pulls out in front straight away, but Calzo's already up his rear and goes up the inside of it, and then Hindle closing the door on him as the Ferraris are attacking each other. Great start by Konzo, getting itself up to P3 and almost attacking his brother for P2. I think the rest of the field has actually gone through the first couple of corners cleanly as Hindle takes it. Oh, commanding lead as Calzo nearly lost it.
In the wall, and that is Alan Muntean. He's gained himself a lot of damage through turn number 3 or 4 there. So he's Stocky as well. Stocky as well has crashed just on the exit of turn 4, but other than that it was mostly clean. Farthba has gained 6 places. He's from 15th to 5th. There's a lot of battling going on down here in the midfield. We got another car, I think. No, that might have just been lag off of Ant69's car, I believe. But he's now battling a little bit with a Williams of Gonk, who's trying to go around the actually Ant69 is all over the road for me. I think he's lagging quite a lot, so if they've got an engineer over there at Force India, I might want to let Ant know that he is well all over the place right now.
We see, as Calzo nearly hits the wall of champions, he actually did hit it. So Calzo taking a lot of risk, I think, to try and keep up with Hindle, as Hindle posted a very good lap time here at 17.9 as an opening lap. So Hindle not not playing around with these guys anymore, and Hindle trying to get his very first victory this season. Ali Montin is into the pits, and we see Calzo not having the easiest of times, as Valdemar is all over the back of Conzo, only 3 tenths behind him.
Yeah, Lamontina and Stocky in the pits. Those were our 2 crashed drivers. In terms of tyre strategy, we do have Farth on the super softs, RDB on the super soft as well. Gonk has gone for the super softs. We'll see what these guys in the pits go for. Alamontine goes for another set of supers. Stocky actually going for the ultras. He's going aggressive here, but we'll pop back up front. Quite close between some of the drivers, and this top 6 is starting to just pull away a little bit now. We've got Danny Railton right on the back of Will 1, Win 1. And Danny Railton, he's not scored a point yet this season, so he sat here in P8. Fantastic opportunity for him to put his name on that points board. And yeah, I mean, you can see right away that it's not easy to get close to the cars in front along the straight, particularly when they've got another car close in front of them. Oh, hold on, no, sorry. Looked like we had some more lag off Ant's car.
Yeah, Ant 69 is really all over the place with his lag, so I do hope that lag settles down, especially for the other drivers for the rest of the race.
The outside of RTB through turn 2, but he isn't able to get the move done. RTB with some significant wing damage is struggling back here. I believe that he probably lost that front wing on the back of Ant's car, which is unfortunate, but yeah, he's starting to hold up Millstar and Gonk now, as we do have Danny Railton has lost a position to Farth, but I think Danny Railton might have made a mistake there. He's lost a lot of ground. Farth also with some damage.
Yeah, Danny Railton then losing out. I think it was about 4 tenths behind Farth, a couple of seconds ago, and then he's probably made a mistake in these chicanes. It's so easy in these chicanes to make a mistake as well. And as soon as you mess one of the chicanes up, well, you're going to lose a lot of time. You can lose tenths to maybe seconds per lap. But Danny Railton's got clean track in front of him. Farth obviously on the super soft tyres.
Clipping the wall of champions yet again. Gonzo now gaining on him. He won't be close enough to have a look into turn 1, but Calzo really struggling with that final chicane. And look at this, Hindle 1.6 seconds ahead. You know, I mean, Hindle, he's maybe looked to be lacking a little bit of the pace they had last season so far, but he's really putting on a show now. So yeah, we have lost Millstar from the session, and his car isn't destroyed, so that is I think a conscious retirement there from Millstar. He was missing half of his front wing. I'm not sure what that's about, but a lot of drivers back here missing some of their wing. We've got RDB is missing some. I think Farth is as well. He's up to 8th place. Incredible start from Farth, but he's missing that front end plate on the right side, and he's starting to lose ground a little bit to Will 1, Win 1 in front of him, who's just about holding on to this top group as he goes a little deep there in the hairpin.
Yeah, on board with
yeah, 69 is lagging all over the place. I think I'll send him a message actually about this.
Yeah, I mean, RDB very close behind Ant 69, but that's going to cause some major problems if Ant 69 keeps on lagging like this. Meanwhile, I'm on board with Calzo. He's actually catching Hindle back up. He's within a second now, whereas the gap was 1.6 seconds earlier. So Hindle might have made a mistake, or it's just Calzo really pushing the car to what it's capable of. I mean, we saw Calzo going into the wall of champions, or scraping the wall of champions multiple times now in this race, as Hindle picks up a 3-second time penalty in lap 5 of the race. So that's not really good for Hindle. This changes things, because obviously Calzo, Conzo, Valdemar all within them 3 seconds, and even coming to get, he's not that far back.
Yeah, watching RDB struggling to get past the Force India here, Van, who's just all over the place. RDB has no idea where to go. This is a real shame for him. Gonk is just sitting back a little bit from this. I think that's the smart move. Definitely don't lose part of your front wing with this. But yeah, I mean, up front, this whole sort of front train staying together very well. We've got all the way down to Slimo Dude in 6th place. And yeah, I mean, if you're part of this kind of front group, think about strategy. Most people would aim for a 1-stop here, but the 2-stop is actually a similar pace. would you maybe consider hopping into the pits and getting a big undercut, maybe just getting yourself some free air if you think you're a little quicker than the guys in front?
I think for Hindle, it's not an option to do that two-stop. Obviously, he's in the lead, he's got track position, so why give it away and try and make things difficult for yourself? But for these guys behind him, for Calzo, Konzo, Valdemar, maybe coming to get you, Slimbo dude, for them it might be considerable to do that two-stop and try and gain time on you on the car ahead. Through the pit stops, and then obviously do that quick ultra soft stint in the end. I mean, we saw last night where you and Clay were leading, and I went on to that two-stop, and I think I clawed back that gap. I think in about 11 laps, I think I clawed it back by maybe 10-15 seconds. So it is worth considering it, especially if you're stuck behind a car, and even if cars pick up wing damage early on. Like if Caldo hits that Wall of Champions again and picks up wing damage. Well, it is a bad thing, but I was going to say it's not necessarily that bad of a thing, because you can pit and try a different strategy.
Yeah, pit lane's very, very short here. I think it's roughly about 14-15 seconds to get that full pit stop in. Now, obviously, if you have a little bit of damage, it will be longer, but it's less of a loss, and we're just seeing now Konzo just tucked up behind this this leading pair. And as we know, Konzo, he's very kind to his tyres. He's always been stronger in the race than he has been in qualifying. And yeah, I mean, he's just starting to inch back on these guys. And, you know, if there's anybody on this grid that can really take these tyres a long, long way, you're going to be thinking Konzo. So he might have an opportunity actually to undercut and then take the tyres to the end, because, yeah, I mean, the tyres will go the distance. Maybe lap 7's a little early. But, you know, once we get to about laps sort of 9, 10, 11, you could put those super softs on and make it to the end without doing a huge amount of tyre saving. So the option is there for these guys if they want to go for something like that. But, yeah, Konzo just sitting quite comfortably there behind his teammate at the moment. So we've got Coming to Get You starting to catch Valdemar, who is dropping a little bit off this front trio. That gap has opened up to 2 seconds now, so Valdemar is struggling to keep up with this lead pace. Coming to Get You is coming at him now, and yeah, I mean, Coming to Get You's had some solid results. He's not really battled for a win yet in the World Series, but he's been getting consistent high points finishes on the podium. So yeah, perhaps tonight he will be up there with that lead battle all the way, because he's keeping himself within that touching distance of this lead group.
Let's have a look here. It comes to get you very close to the back of Valdemar, actually getting closer as we speak. It's only 0.6 of a second now, and I think Coming to Get You will be making moves on Valdemar. I'm not sure. Valdemar actually might have some damage. I mean, we're going to have a look at the front wing now. It looks intact, but as we know, this game actually it can actually have damage without us being able to see it, as RDB pits, I think, for a set of super soft tyres. Oh, no, he started the race on that. So let's have a look at RDB and what tyres he's going to put on in the Renault car. Is his wing going to get changed? Yes, his wing is going to get changed, and he's putting on the soft tyres. So RDB going for a safe one stop with the soft tyres and trying to get them to the end.
I've got super softs
as they've actually changed now, so I don't know what the game is doing. Yeah, they've actually changed to super soft. So well, fantastic stuff here. That's nice always to have it this clear. But RDB coming out of the super soft tyres, so this opens up a two-stop strategy for RDB. Probably going to the ultra softs near the end of the race, and as Ali Montine is in the pits yet again. Calzo in the pits. Sorry, yeah, we missed that.
He's the first one to pull the trigger out of this lead group, and he is looking at a set of the soft tyres. That's an undercut for Calzo now, very aggressive from him, but he's going to come out a long, long way down. Who else have we got in the pits? It's Slimbo, dude. He's got super softs though. Interesting strategy here from Calzo. Those soft tyres will comfortably go to the end from here. Will look like a one-stop strategy from Calzo, but he's come out in 8th place. He's got a little bit of free air until Danny Railton in front of him, but not a huge amount. And once he gets up to the back of Danny Railton in 4th, but he's going to have to try and get past them quickly. Otherwise, he's going to lose out to these other lead drivers. For those looking to go to the super softs, it's probably a few more laps until they think about pitting to be really comfortable on them to the end. Generally, I think the fastest time to pit is lap sort of 12, 13 or so. So you see Hendel making a little mistake at the hairpin. He's lost about half a second to console there. But yeah, I would generally expect to see super softs on around about lap 12, 13 for those guys running them to the end.
But obviously Slim will do pitting for the super softs in lap 9. Do you think he'll get them to the end?
if he's kind to his rear tyres, I think just about. I put the super softs on a lap 8 last night, and they were very, very on the limit at the end of the race. And I'm normally quite kind to my rear tyres, so yeah, it's tricky around here to get them quite that far. It is possible, but we may see a two-stop strategy from Slimbo if he's a little harder on his tyres. We've got more guys in the pits now. Will One, Win One, and Danny Railton have both pitted. Danny Railton actually going for another set of Ultra Softs. That'll be a two-stop strategy. Will One has gone for the Super Softs. He is going to come out a little bit behind Slimbo Toon though. Nice clean air for him. Be able to make up a bit of ground there. Coming to get you is right all over the back of Valdemar now as well, just 4/10 behind. Definitely looks to have a little bit better tyre wear than Valdemar, who is really dropping off this front group. 5 seconds behind Konzo now, as Calzo gets himself up past Farthba. And actually, I don't think Farthba fought that one too hard, and with Danny Railton pinning, Calzo has now got a lot of free air in front of him, and he's got a good opportunity to undercut those in front on these soft tyres.
So Calzo making good moves here, and we see Konzo actually and Hindle into the pits in lap 10. What tyres they're going to put on? I think Hindle pits for the super soft tyres, if I've seen that correctly, and Konzo pitting for the soft tyres. So different strategy calls here by the front three guys, the net front three guys, as Valdemar continues on for another lap on the Ultra Soft. So Valdemar,
is Calzo going to come out in relation to these guys? It's going to be very, very close.
I think he's done it.
Of the pit lane.
I think he's done it. Yeah, he's done it.
Side by side with Calzo. He's got it done. Calzo has the undercut on both of them, so he is up into the net lead of this race now. And yeah, that strategy paying off for Calzo. We've got Hindle on the softer tyres. Konzo, surprisingly, going for the soft compound tyres after running 10 laps on the Ultra Softs. That's a little surprising to me. Would have expected him to go for a set of the supers. Like Come to Get You has done, he's gone for a set of the super softs as well. And they are, at the start of this stint, a fair amount quicker than the softs, as Hindle is really clawing over the back of Calzo now. He's very, very close, just 2/10 behind. I think we might see a move somewhere on this lap. Perhaps down into that final chicane. Hindle's got to focus on getting a good exit out of this hairpin, but Calzo has done well on the traction there. You see him trying to just get out of that toe a little bit, but yeah, Hindle not quite close enough. I don't think he's going to have to line it up. Probably a couple corners before and then get the move done, and he has to get the move done because otherwise Calzo will start to pull away as the stint goes on. But Calzo struggling through the final chicane. He's getting very close to the wall of champions. Hindle goes back to the outside. They are side by side down into turn 1. Calzo is later on the brakes. Hindle not able to find a way through. Good defensive work from Calzo there.
It's great driving by Calzo and Hindle, and I think Hindle's struggling with straight line speed there. Could not get past could not get alongside Calzo at all on that back straight. So Hindle really is going to have to do it in the corner, but he's very close to him now. Will we see a move from Hindle here as Calzo defends again, and there's nowhere really for Hindle to go as Konzo's quickly dropping off. I mean, we saw before the pit stops, Hindle was struggling massively on them Ultra Softs, so I'm hoping as Ant69 leaves the session, I hate to say it, but that might be for the better for the other drivers, because they won't struggle with their lag. So Ant69, unfortunate result for him.
I did send him a message and say that it might be best for him to retire because he was all over the place. Hindle getting very close to Calzo, almost into the back of him. In fact, I think there is slight contact there, but not enough to damage any wings. But Hindle is right up behind the Ferrari now. He's got to look to get this move done. But we can see this Ferrari is quick in a straight line. Hindle is gaining very slightly. It's not going to be enough to have a look down into the final chicane. You've really got to be ahead going into there to get a move done. Now, is he going to be close enough going into turn 1? Again, he's gaining slightly. He's going to have to be later on the brakes if he goes to this. He is down the inside, pulls alongside Calzo. Will have the inside line for turn number 2. Again, contact there between these two drivers. Calzo holds on for another lap, and every lap that he is able to hold on, the tyre advantage will become less and less for Hindle. He's really got to try and get this move done, but this battling between these two is allowing Konzo to catch up as well.
Yeah, Konzo, the gap was I think 1.5 seconds at some point a couple of laps ago, and Konzo is now got the gap down to pretty much half a second. So Konzo's still not really out of this for the victory, as we've seen Valdemar pit for the super soft tyres, and Valdemar lost out position to come and to get you. He's now on P6 as we still see Path on track for Hindle. Yeah,
he's going to try and hold it around the outside on Calzo. He's going to go for a cutback, actually look for the better traction. Beautifully done from Hindle, trying to set himself up. Needs to get in that toe, and he does do this, but now with the toe and the DRS. Again, that Ferrari with excellent straight line speed. Calzo going defensive to the inside. Is Hindle going to try and hold it around the outside? He chooses not to. Probably a smart decision. He's going to try and get a better exit. Calzo has been struggling out of the final chicane on traction there pretty much all race long. He now goes defensive on the inside. Hindle going to try and hold it around the outside going into turn 2. Calzo very late on the brakes there, but Hindle's got the better line. And who's going to have better traction? They're still side by side, but now Hindle has the inside line for turn number 3. Surely this will be the move done for the Mercedes driver, and it is. Getting very close to the wall there on the exit, but Hindle does have the move done, and yeah, he's back up into the lead of this race. Conzo just sitting behind this pair as well. He's sitting quite comfortable. He's you know, maybe just letting these guys battle ahead, waiting for possibly an incident to happen. He's just clips that wall actually on the entry to the third chicane there. But yeah, great battling to see. Very respectful racing between Calzo and Hindle, leaving each other a car's width, but no more. As Valdemar does get up past Farth, and sorry, hold on. Farth has tried to go down the inside on him and has gotten it horribly wrong, and has actually run into the wall. So Farth was going to have to pit. He's got a lot of damage. So he's going side by side with Slimbo Dude, who is just slowly pulling ahead with the DRS on this straight. He should have a move done. I think Farthba will aim for the pit lane, and he does. Probably for this stage, maybe instead of softs to run to the end, because I don't think you'll get the ultra softs 20 laps.
We still have Conzo and Calzo here, well, pretty much fighting each other, with Hindle opening up that gap to around 7/10 now. Hindle not really pulling away as much as I expected him to, but then again, you said about these super soft tyres, they're the quicker tyre, but obviously after a while the super softs and the softs are actually equal in pace. I mean, we saw it last night with the front runners and all the different strategies, and it's showing again now. And Calzo's not really letting Hindle go, and Conzo's still sitting behind them pretty comfortably. I don't think Conzo's pushing that car at all, as we see a lapped Renault car behind them.
Contact between the two Williams, Danny Railton and Gonk, and I think that might have just been a little bit of lag there. Danny Railton just clipping the back of Gonk. These two guys, well, they've had a lot in Monaco. Yeah, Gonk, I think after that race, deciding that he's not interested at all in letting his teammate through. And Danny Railton just clipping the back of him there. Unfortunate, but I don't think it was really sort of either driver's fault. Just a bit of a racing incident, but he's lost a bit of ground to Gonk there. He's doing well in P8 at the moment. So yeah, Danny Railton still waiting to get his first points of the season. He is in a points-paying position at the moment, but I think he's missing a very small amount of his front wing, so that will be costing him a little bit, as Valdemar setting the fastest lap of the race. He's edging in the gap to these front runners, and that's interesting. I mean, Valdemar, he was very quick at the start of the first stint on the Ultra Softs, and then really fell off as the tires began to degrade, and now that he's on fresh rubber again, he's the quickest man on track. So that's interesting for him in the Toro Rosso here. Seems to be his pace seems to be affected a little bit more by the tire wear compared to those guys around him.
I think Valdemar actually closing up that gap to Conzo and Calzo quite considerably. Valdemar actually closing the gap up to 4.9 seconds. I believe it was 6 seconds, or maybe even more before. So Valdemar still not really out of this, but he's going to have to claw back 5 seconds in the space of 19 laps. Do you think that's doable for Valdemar?
I think if these guys up front start to battle a little bit more, then that is possible. But yeah, you know, I mean, you just really got to settle into the stints and set consistent lap times, and you know, the tire wear is not too much here, so you can keep up a fairly consistent pace throughout the stint here in Canada, and you've just got to settle in, get into the rhythm of this track, and not overheat your tires. And as long as you do that, then you can start to crawl in that gap a little bit. But it does look like it's just kind of maintaining it around about that 5 second buffer. I suppose the other thing for Valdemar that he's got to think about is just avoid getting penalties at all costs. That's the biggest thing around this track. It's very easy to just push a little bit too hard and cross those white lines and get yourself those time penalties. So you have the Williams back together again. Danny Railton all over the back of his teammate Gonk. Danny Railton on the faster tires, and I think slightly newer tires as well. He is going to go up the inside. Very, very letting loose at the rear end of that Williams there. He was fighting the oversteer as he made that move. Gonk as well, just struggling to get the stability through that corner. It seems to be one of those corners where the rear end of the car steps out fairly regularly, but Danny Wilson has gone up past his teammate into 8th place. So we've got Stocky now in the pits, and he's back out on another set of Ultrasofts. That's interesting. Hold on, did he start the race on super soft tires? Let me check.
I'm not sure actually if he did. I think he did start on super softs, if I believe.
Yeah, so he did start the race on the super softs. So Stocky, he boxed lap 1, and I think he's going to try and take 2 sets of ultra softs basically to the end. Clearly got some quite good tire wear to pull something like that off. But yeah, it seems to be I don't know. It seems to be his very, very aggressive strategy. I'm not sure that's what I would go for, but he's making the tires work. He's stuck down in 12th place. Bit of a recovery drive, and he's a long way behind 11th and a very, very long way off of a point at the moment. So Stocky's going to need to put in some phenomenal lap times if he wants to get himself on the board.
Well, if you obviously crash at the first lap, you obviously got to try something different in order to get your car back up to where you think it belongs. Stocky, I mean, he should be able to get within the top 6 quite comfortably if he's not got damage. And with him picking up the damage, I mean, starting on the super soft, that opens up the option for him to do this strategy. And if he's good at his tyres, I mean, why not? He's that far back, you might as well try it and see where it takes him.
Yeah, very, very aggressive strategy from Stocky, as I've just watched Slimbo Dude clip the wall of champions there. We've seen quite a few drivers getting up close and personal. Although I don't think I've seen anybody get damage through there just quite yet. But yeah, back up at the front. Closest cars on track are the 2 Ferraris, Calzo and Conzo. Conzo just sitting half a second behind his brother, and yeah, I mean, for Conzo, you know, he's got a big 60-point lead over Calzo.
Oh, Stocky losing his wing again.
It's all going a little bit wrong here for Stocky. It's a very difficult traction zone, especially for those not running any traction control. You've really got to feather the throttle through there, probably do a little bit of short shifting as well. But yeah, Stocky just getting it all wrong tonight. This race is really going from bad to worse for him. But Conzo is now starting to put the pressure on his brother here. 4/10 behind Calzo, and yeah, he's looking like the quicker Ferrari tonight. Just looks incredibly comfortable as these stints go on. It looks like he's got better tyre wear than Calzo, and he's really making this work. Look how close he's getting to him through that final chicane. So I think we might see some moves between these Ferraris fairly soon. The other thing to note as well is Slimbo Dude is getting pretty close to the back of Coming to Get You. He's starting to lump the pressure onto Coming to Get You. He's been 6/10 back for a couple laps now, and yeah, he was maybe not quite as quick in the first part of the race, but he seems to be liking these super soft tyres a little better.
Do you think we'll see team orders between the 2 Ferraris, or do you think Calzo will battle into the end, especially with the championship standings in the back of their minds?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Calzo, do you really want to be allowing Conzo more points ahead of you in the championship? I mean, Calzo's already got a bit of a mountain to climb already, and I know they're teammates, but you know, they've got a pretty big lead in the constructors. I get the feeling these guys are starting to think more about the Drivers' Championship already at this point in the season, and I think that they've got about a 60-point lead in the constructors, and they'll be feeling fairly comfortable with that at the moment. Slimbo Dude getting quite close to Coming to Get You as well, pulling up very, very close to him via that hairpin, but Coming to Get You with excellent traction out of there has opened up a little bit more of the gap. Yeah, Slimbo Dude. He's been a lot of pressure on Coming to Get You here, and Slimbo Dude's been doing very well in the races we've seen him so far, obviously picking up this full-time Mercedes seat in, I believe it was Spain that he got the full-time seat, but he had a couple of races in the Toro Rosso earlier in the season as well, and it's looked very consistently like a podium finisher and a potential race winner. So yeah, Slimbo Dude doing a good job here this season. He's all over the back of a very experienced driver in Coming to Get You.
Meanwhile, his teammate Hindle has picked up another 3-second penalty, as Will Win One does as well. But Hindle's on a total of 6 seconds worth of penalties, and with Conzo and Calzo behind him, and Valdemar not too far behind either. Valdemar's actually closed up the gap to 3.8 seconds, 3.7 now. So Valdemar, he's coming for these front 3.
Yeah, and Valdemar, you know, he's shown a lot of pace this season. He's done pretty well in qualifying. There's been multiple occasions where he's been running well early in the race, and it's just all fallen apart from him as the tires have worn. And that's been a fairly consistent theme. But yeah, he's sitting in fourth right now, and he just needs to keep closing in that gap slowly, and he's got to hope that these Ferraris in front of him start to battle.
Stocky's binned it. Sorry, Stocky's binned it end of the first sector. He's probably binned it into that wall, losing the traction on the first chicane, and he's lost his left front wheel. So that is a race over for the Red Bull of Stocky, as we see Hindle 2.0 seconds ahead, 1.9 now. So Hindle, I think at this point the cars are pretty much equal now. The cars, the tyres.
Yeah, I think at this stage of the race, you've really just got to be, you know, if you're one of those drivers out there, it's all about just keeping the consistency up, as we actually see coming at you run a little wide. That's allows the Moto to pull a bit of the gap to him. But yeah, it's all about that consistency. Just keep hitting your braking points and clipping those apexes. And, you know, if you can continue to put in the same lap times, those gaps will start to come down. It's important not to get impatient at this point in the race. You've just got to keep your head down and not make mistakes, and in particular around this Montreal circuit you've got to make sure that you're respectful of track limits and not get any time penalties, because that might come back to bite Hindle unless it's able to open up a big enough gap. So once again we're watching Conzo get pretty close to Calzo along that straight, but you know, overtaking around here is not very easy. You've really got to be ahead of the car in front of you going into that final chicane to be able to pull a move off, because if you're side by side, it's a one-line corner. They will likely have the inside, and you'll probably just get out to dry.
Calzo's got some great line speed to keep his brother behind him. I think this track is actually not too bad for overtaking, but you just need the straight line speed on the back straight, and then you can pull off some great moves. The Stocky's car is actually still in the way there. I don't know if that's putting the drivers off, or if that's actually on their screens. It is on my screen, and it would definitely put me off as a driver. But I mean, these guys, they're still looking quite comfortable. Hindle in the meantime opening up that gap from 2 seconds to 2.3 now. Do you think this battle is actually making Hindle get away, or do you think it's just the pace of the super softs?
I think it's hard to say. I think that the softs and the super softs will likely be a similar pace at the moment, so it might just be the raw pace that Hindle has around here that is enabling him to get away from the Ferraris. And you know, generally the Ferraris this season have been the quickest cars on track, and yeah, Hindle showing that he's got some really great pace around this circuit, but he's got to open up more of a gap on these Ferraris and keep pulling that. And I think he's also hoping, him and Valdemar, hoping these Ferraris start to battle, because you know, Conzo, he's sitting 4 tenths back. He's been there for, I don't know, about 10 laps now. We know that Conzo has some of the best tyre wear in the league, so he's going to be getting quicker and quicker compared to his brother as this thing goes on. So we might see a move towards the end of the race from him, knowing that he'll have a little bit of a tyre advantage there. But yeah, I mean, you know, also as well, if you're Conzo, he's got a big lead in the championship. I don't think he'd be too disappointed only losing, say, 3 points to a main rival at this race. It's not a bad result by any means.
Yeah, but obviously they're probably going to lose more points with Hindle picking up the penalties that he has, as Conzo goes deeper, nearly to the back of Calzo, going into the hairpin. So that lost Conzo a little bit of time. But I think Conzo, at this point, is actually the quicker driver. I mean, we've seen with Calzo in previous races that he's been, well, considerably quicker than his teammate, but that's not the case here in Canada. Conzo actually showed him some great pace, and I actually practiced with Conzo last night. Looked very, very quick in the race, and actually struggled a lot in qualifying, but he qualified in fourth, so that's not too bad for Conzo. So there is improvement in Conzo's qualifying performance by the looks of it, and the race pace performance, well, it's pretty much always there with Conzo. Calzo, well, is not being able to keep up with Hindle, and Conzo, I think if Calzo would let Conzo go, I think Conzo would actually be able to close up that gap to Hindle. But obviously, being Calzo, like for the championship, it's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, I mean, for you know, I mean, this has really been the story of Conzo in pro racing for, well, at least as long as I've been around, where his race pace has always been considerably better than his qualifying. He's generally struggled to put together you know, qualifying laps, but you know, he's got a very smooth and sort of relaxed driving style, which allows him to really come back at people in the races with you just consistency and superior tire wear. And I'll tell you something, Dom, there is rain falling on my screen. Now that is interesting. It's starting to sprinkle here in Canada, so this is going to be a complete curveball on the strategy now. And for these guys that have gone to the soft compound tires, probably knowing that there's rain scheduled for later in the race, that's an interesting decision. Maybe they thought it was going to be a little bit later, but yeah, this rain is falling, and now the drivers are going to start thinking about when is going to be the right time for some intermediate tires. It's Coming to Get You is under fire from Slimbo Dude through the first couple of corners. Slimbo Dude just a 10th behind, and he's not quite able to get the move done through turn 2. He's right on the back of Coming to Get You, but not really alongside, but he's got a little bit better traction out of this first chicane. He's going to have a look down into the second chicane here as Coming to Get You goes very defensive. He's late actually with that move a little bit. It's on the edge of being legal, I think it's just about, but yeah, now Slimbo Dude fighting the rear of the car, trying to get better traction than the Haas, but he's not quite able to. Coming to Get You holds on for now, but yeah, Slimbo Dude definitely looking more comfortable in these conditions as the track is starting to get quite slippy. Conditions getting very difficult on the slick tires, and
Coming to Get You goes deep,
actually is going to go up the inside. Coming to Get You has gone deep, and now it's just a sheer battle of traction, but look at that, Coming to Get You, brilliant work. Very, very confident on the traction there, and he is able to stay ahead. Slimbo Dude's going to come back at him down towards this final chicane. Is he going to throw it up the inside? No, he doesn't, as we do have one driver in the pits. That's someone a little further back than SRDB. Slimbo Dude again fighting the rear of the car, but I don't think he's going to be quite close enough to have a move down into turn 1 on Coming to Get You. He isn't. So yeah, Coming to Get You just about holding on, but Slimbo Dude looking very, very quick in these conditions now, as RDB has actually pulled the trigger and gone for the intermediate tires already. Seems quite early. We'll keep an eye on how he does on those tires.
And I'll keep an eye out on the front 3 runners. Calzo actually, closing the gap to Hindle. Is now only 2 seconds again after it was, I think, 2.3, 2.4 earlier. It's actually gone down to 1.9. I mean, on this game, it is known that the harder compounded tyres are actually quicker in changeable conditions. And Calzo and Konzo, this might be the reason they've actually chosen for the softs, because they knew this rain was going to fall. They knew the soft tyres would be better in the changeable conditions, and they're probably going to close up the gap with Hindle. As the gap goes down to 1.7 seconds. That's astonishing in just a couple of corners time.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen the Slimbo Dude almost spinning it. Wow.
Oh, Hindle in the pits.
Hindle in the pits. On the traction there. So Hindle is the first to pull the trigger out of the front runner as he does go for the intermediate compound tires. Calzo and Konzo continue on. They still think that it's slick conditions. Valdemar continues on as well. Coming to Get You is in the pits. Slimbo Dude is in the pits. So yeah, a lot of guys jumping in now. Hindle taking a huge gamble from the lead of this race to be the first one to pit. He might have watched last night's event and saw, well, I lost the lead off an undercut of driver going with the tire strategy, so he might have seen that, and he's just bet on these intermediate tires, and I've got to say it's looking pretty wet out here now. Definitely looks like intermediate conditions to me.
Farbus has lost it on the ultra soft, so the car's definitely struggling with these conditions. Meanwhile, Calzo and Konzo, they're not looking too bad, but it's always Calzo has a moment there into that chicane. Calzo nearly losing the car there, as I think we will see one of these pit for sure now, but one of them is going to lose out.
Well, the problem for the Ferraris as well is that they're going to have to double stack if they both come in on this lap. That Konzo will definitely get held up, and that might cause them some problems.
DRS disabled.
Is only 5 seconds behind, so DRS is disabled now. That generally is the marker on Codemasters games for when you want to be heading towards the intermediate tires, and the Ferraris are double stacking Calzo and Konzo into
Konzo's gone on.
Oh no, sorry.
Konzo's gone on.
Konzo carries on in very, very damp conditions. This is a big gamble from him as Calzo pits Valdemar into the pits, and we'll see where Hindle comes out in relation to Calzo. It's going to be very close as Calzo is trundling towards the end of the pit lane now. Hindle goes across the line, so he is ahead, but is Calzo going to be able to get past him as Hindle takes the first couple of corners? Are going to be close, but I think the Hindle maintains that lead, and he does just about around roughly a second gap between these two, so not too much gained or lost here, but Konzo is starting to lose time to this pair, and he's going to be look at this. Konzo is No, actually, he's keeping it fairly even.
No,
sorry
he's not
about that.
keeping it even at all. He's not keeping it even at all. He's just lost 1 second in the space of 3 corners, and now 1.2 seconds. That gap is coming down very, very quickly.
Oh, you're completely right. Yeah, I'm getting confused here. Konzo losing time hand over fist now, and
that's probably going to drop him behind Valdemar.
It's not out of the question. I mean, Valdemar, he was about 5.5 seconds behind Konzo at the pit stop, and yeah, that's a big way to, you know, it's a big gap to make up in just 1 lap. But Konzo has lost, I think, about 3 seconds on this lap compared to Hindle, so it's not completely out of the question as Konzo does make his way into the pits.
Oh, that was so close. Oh no, he actually got a 5-second stop and go penalty. I thought he didn't pick it up, but he's got a 5-second stop and go penalty for the championship leader, so that is very unlucky for Konzo. And let's see where he comes out in relation to Valdemar. We'll drop on board with Valdemar actually, as Valdemar comes through the last chicane with the Water Champion sitting there. And Valdemar, I think, is Konzo going to stay ahead? Yes, he is.
Yeah, it looks like Konzo will maintain the position on track over Valdemar, but he does have a 5-second time penalty that will be added to his race time. So that effectively knocks Konzo pretty much out of the running for the win of this race. And look at this. Oh, Calzo, very, very loose. Almost puts it into the wall. He's only 6/10 behind Hindle. He really looks like he's pushing hard, and he's going to try and probably overtake Hindle for this win here. He won't know that Hindle has penalties. I'm not actually sure if Calzo has penalties, to be honest, but yeah, it was very sideways coming through that right-hander. It really is, you know, it's not normally a corner. Turn 5 is typically just flat out. You don't have to worry about it too much in the dry, but once it starts to rain, that turns into very much a very difficult corner. It's easy to lose the rear of the car through there. You've got to go slower than you might originally expect, as we got some yellows in sector 2, and that is RDB having a spin. He's broken his wing as well. He's down in 11th place. That's going to be frustrating because yeah, I think that no, he's got a long way back from 4th, but yeah, RDB having a little bit of a spin there. He's probably going to continue on to the end with that wing damage, but any hopes of catching the cars in front probably gone with that.
Calzo nearly losing it onto the Water Champions and opening up that gap to Hindle now. With Calzo was 6/10 behind him now. He's 1.1 seconds behind him now as Hindle, well, not using all the track that he could have there. So Calzo will probably be closing that gap ever so slightly, as it's now 9/10 of a second. So Calzo really putting the pressure on in these last 5 laps. Do you think Calzo won't know it? Because normally the in-game engineer will tell you that the guy in front has got a penalty.
Well, I mean, we've seen Hindle get 2 penalties. I don't know if Calzo has one. In fact, I'm not going to check. But, you know, perhaps if Calzo has a penalty, he might have heard that Hindle has a penalty, but he doesn't know that he has more. The other thing as well is that sometimes your engineer will give you the information and other times they won't, as RTB has retired in the pits. So his race is over. And yeah, after that spin, he's just decided that actually he's out of the contention for points and that he'll end his race there. Calzo's still within that second mark of Hindle, but yeah, it's fairly spread out across the rest of the grid. I'll just give you a little rundown of the standings on certain positions at the moment. We've got Hindle and Calzo out in front, then Konzo in 3rd, but he has a 5-second time penalty. Then we've got Valdemar in 4th, coming to get you, 8 seconds back from him in 5th place, followed by Slimbo Dude, who seems to have lost quite a lot of time via that pit stop window. He's in 6th, and we've got Will One Win One sitting in 7th place. He's had a fairly quiet race. He's really just been in kind of no man's land at the moment. Then we got Gonk, Danny Railton and Farthba making up the remainder of the points. The last man out on track at the moment is Ant69 in 11th place, and now the RDB has retired. But Calzo just 4/10 behind Hindle. This gap is coming down. Calzo looking a little bit quicker as this rain gets heavier, and it's starting to almost look like we might get to full wet conditions.
Let's have a look on board with Calzo. Actually, we'll get on board with Calzo as we drive towards the back of Hindle. Hindle's made a mistake here, so will this be an opportunity for Calzo as he puts his car to Rich straight away? You see him turning on his steering wheel, and there's only 4/10 behind now, but obviously there's no DRS in these conditions, so that's going to be very difficult for Calzo to get past. I think he's going to have to do it somewhere in the corners. Do you think these guys have actually changed their car setups for the rain?
I'm not sure. I mean, it was a dry start to the race, and the majority of the race was dry. So I would expect them to have gone with a dry setup. These guys might be finding things a little bit difficult. I've definitely seen those guys not running ABS starting to lock up quite a lot. Back of the lights coming to get you in Slimbo, dude. They've been flat spawning those intermediate tires a little bit, but yeah, Calzo all over the back of Hindle still, and this is really what you've got to do if you've not quite got the straight line speed to get past in the wet conditions. You've just got to sit as close behind as you possibly can and just pile the pressure on and hope that the driver in front of you makes a mistake. But of course Hindle, former World Series champion, very experienced driver. I'm not sure that he'll be one to crack under the pressure from Calzo, but yeah, it can be difficult to get past. No DRS, the toe is not very strong, and we've already seen that drivers have been struggling to pull alongside on that main straight, so you've really just got to sit behind and you know, put pressure on, and if you get an opportunity to be later on the brakes into one of the braking zones, you've just got to go for it.
In the meantime, Conzo has pulled out his second over Valdemar in these last couple of laps, and if he can pull out another second, that will actually make sure Conzo actually does finish third, because I'm not sure if Valdemar has actually picked up a penalty. But Conzo doing a good job there, but still losing time to the cars in front of him. But at this stage, Conzo, I mean, he needs to look behind, doesn't he? Calzo behind him in the championship. By a considerable amount, he can lose those points. It's not really a problem, even if it's 10 points for the victory. I think Conzo at this stage, how many points is he ahead? You've got the standings?
I think about 60, roughly about that, yeah.
Yeah, so you can,
points, so.
if he loses 10 points in this race, that'll still leave him with 50 points advantage. Calzo's getting ever so close to the back of Hindle here. Will we see Calzo dive up the inside somewhere and maybe hurt his championship chances?
For a set of wet tyres, 2 laps before the end, that's a bold decision from coming to get you. Very, very bold decision. He's maybe thinking that these guys in the intros are going to start really struggling, but I'm not sure about that one as the rain is falling heavier and heavier. It definitely looks like full wet conditions, but he's going to have to make up a pit stop's worth of time, and that has promoted Will One Win One. But we're on board with Calzo now as he's very close to Hindle, coming down towards the hairpin. He has a little look up the inside, but he's not quite late enough on the brakes. In fact, Hindle running slightly deep, but that will give him better traction off of the exit. Yeah, we see that there. Hindle, fantastic exit out of the corner, and he is able to maintain this position. And we can often see in these wet conditions that you know, taking a little bit of a wider line and getting that well, not dropping as much speed and then getting a better run off of the corner can be a good defensive technique, as Hindle's had a very slow run through the final chicane, and this has put Calzo all over the back of him. He is going to have a look down into turn 1 as he goes right and then goes left. Calzo down the inside on Hindle, and he's actually going to make that move just about stick as he runs it right to the white line. Hindle forced a little bit out of room there, but Calzo is up and past Hindle, and this rain is falling very, very heavily now. There's all to play for between these two, as Hindle just getting all over the white lines there. He's right behind Calzo as they come through turn 5, very tricky corner in these conditions. Hindle having a little look up the inside. Calzo goes offensive, but Hindle not able to make that move. He's going to try and get better traction now. Very difficult traction zone in these conditions, as Calzo is able to maintain that lead, just 3/10, and Hindle, he's not looking quite as strong on the brakes as Calzo is, as Calzo running a little deeper into the corner, but Hindle not quite close enough to make a move down into the hairpin. See a little bit of a weave there. I think Hindle might be a bit frustrated with that, but what a phenomenal move from Calzo. Really went for it.
Really went for it, and obviously Calzo is going to win the race on penalties anyway, but it's nice to win it on track. It's nice for yourself as Hindle well, sort of gives up. He's weaving on the back straight now, and nearly loses the car doing it. So I don't know if that is out of frustration or just out of, well, pretty much celebrating what was a good battle. I mean, I know these guys are two good friends, so I think Hindle wouldn't be too disappointed with second. But it is Calzo who takes the victory here in Canada, with Conzo actually opening up that gap to Valdemar with more than 5 seconds. Conzo has actually jumped Hindle.
Yeah, that's incredible, and Valdemar will come across the line in 4th. But what a phenomenal move from Calzo there to take the win. Coming home in P5 will be Slimbo Dude, after coming to get you, making a very late pit stop onto the wets. That was a big mistake from him. He's lost out a couple of positions. Slimbo Dude P5 for the Mercedes squad. Then we've got Will One Win One. Quiet Race is just ran his own little race here, and he's coming home for 8.6th place. Solid result, I'd say, for the Red Bull driver. And then we got coming to get you. That was a mistake going to the wet tyres. He's dropped 2 positions. He comes home in 7th. And then we got back to Gonk in the Williams. And we've also got Danny Railton on the lead lap as well. Off of the lead lap, we had Fartma finishing 10th and Ant69 in 11th. Those guys crossing the line just a little bit ago. But yeah, Gonk now coming through the final chicane. And look at this rain, it really is pouring now. He has a little bit of a weave. He's quite happy with that P8, 4 points. And Danny Railton, so long as he doesn't make a mistake through this final chicane.
Ooh, nearly.
Oversteer, but he does hold it. He does hold it. Danny Railton comes across the line.
Oh, I've got an error now.